In this video, I will be using group policy to deploy FileZilla. I will deploy it using two different methods. One is where we create a policy for the main computers, and then the computers install the software during startup. Another one is where we create a policy for the main users, and then the users themselves can install the software whenever they like. I will also use Wix to package FileZilla executable into MSI file, and I'm starting this video from my GitHub page, and that's because there are a few bits of information here that I will be using for this video, and I will leave the URL in the description down below. Also, in the bottom of the page you can find more of my videos that are related to this topic. For example, here you can find my Windows Server setup if you're interested in that. Also, here you can find videos about extra settings and group policies that I'm using when deploying software using group policy, and also a few videos about Wix on how to install it and use it. And now I will begin this video by downloading FileZilla executable installation file, and for that I will use the link that I have here. That brings me to the FileZilla downloads page. Then I will click on download FileZilla client and download here. The download should start for us, and I will go to the downloads folder and wait for the executable. And now that I have my executable, I need to package it into a MSI file. And for that I will be using Wix, and for Wix we need a configuration file. And I have a configuration file in GitHub page. As you can see, I have few configuration files. One is named FileZilla, and this is a complete configuration file that has all the values in it. You can check it out if you want to. But for this video I will be using this one called template, so I will click on it. And then I will click here to download the configuration file. Then I will go back to my downloads folder. I will rename the configuration file to FileZilla. Then I will right click on the file and I will open it with Visual Studio Code. As you can see, it's an XML file. Basically, it's instructions for Wix on how to package the executable into a MSI file for us. And here we only care about this part right here. Basically, we need to fill in the information that is specific to FileZilla installation. First, we need to provide the name for this package. I will name it deploy FileZilla. Then for executable, we need to provide the executable name, and for that I will go to my downloads folder, right click on the executable, select rename, and then I will select the full name to include the extension because extension is important, and I will copy it and I will paste it here. Then for the path, we need to provide the location where we currently have the executable. In my case, it's my downloads folder, and my downloads folder is in my D drive. So I will type D and downloads. Then we need to provide silent arguments because we want the installation to be silent for this executable. And for that I will go to the FileZilla page in my GitHub and I will copy this line right here. It's a single switch /s. So I will paste it here. And now we need to provide a version number. And this version number is not for the software but for the MSI file. And in most cases I like to keep them the same, so I will copy the version number from the executable file name and then I will paste it here. Then publisher is not that important, but it's a mandatory field, so I will enter let's do automation. And then we need a GUID. And GUID is a unique identifier that we can generate using PowerShell. And for that I have this command in the GitHub page right here, so I will copy it. Then I will open terminal and I will paste in the command. And as you can see, every time I'm using this command, I'm getting a new unique identifier. And I will copy one of the values, go back to the configuration file and paste it here. And we're done creating our configuration file, so I will save it. And now we can use it to generate an MSI file for FileZilla deployment. And for that I will go back to the terminal, then I will change the location to the location where I have my executable and the configuration file, and for me, like I said, it's my downloads folder. So I'll type cd, then d, and then downloads. I'll press enter. If I type there, you can see that here I have the configuration file for Wix and also the executable. Now to create the MSI file, I will type Wix build and provide the configuration file name, so it's FileZilla, and press enter. I will go back to downloads folder, and as you can see, the MSI file was successfully generated. And now I will right click the file, select copy, and then I will go to VMware Workstation where I have my Windows Server environment. For now, I will minimize the server manager and I will move the executable to my desktop. And from the desktop, I will move it to a network share that is accessible to my users and computers. And for that, I will open File Explorer. And here I will enter my file server name. It's srv02. Here I have the software share, and in this share, I will create another folder named FileZilla. I will go inside of it, and then I will move the MSI file to this folder. And here you need to make sure that you have the correct NTFS and share permissions. For example, in my case, if I go to Properties, Security tab and Edit, you can see that I have authenticated users with read permissions for my NTFS permissions and also have the same permissions for my share permissions. And authenticated users covers both users and computers that are part of my domain, and that means that they are able to access this share and also execute files from it. Anyways, you need to make sure that you have the correct permissions, and now I will close everything here, and then I will open Server Manager because now we can start creating our group policies. And for that, I will go to Tools, Group Policy Management. I will right click on Group Policy Objects, select New, and I will name the first policy Assign FileZilla. I will click OK. I will expand Group Policy Objects. I will select the policy that I created. I will right click it, and then I will select Edit. And the first policy will be for our domain computers. It's where the software is installed during computer startup. And for that, we need to go to the computer configuration, policies, software settings, and software installation. Then I will right click here, go to new and select package. Here, make sure that you're selecting a file that is located in a network share, because like here, you can see that it allows me to select a file that is located on the server's desktop, and it will allow you to create a group policy, but when the computers will try to install FileZilla, they would fail because they don't have access to this file on the server. And to select a file from a network share, I will click here. I will enter my file server name once again. It's srv02. Go to the software share, FileZilla folder, and I will select the MSI file here. Then I will select Advanced and OK, then Deployment and Advanced. Here I will select Ignore Language when deploying this package because I want to deploy this package to all of my computers no matter what system language they have. Then I will click OK, OK, and we can close this window because we are done creating our policy. And then I will go to Details tab here, and for GPO status from Enabled, I will change it to User Configuration Settings Disabled, because currently this policy only has computer settings in it. And I will leave all other settings on default. Now after creating our policy, we need to assign it an organization unit that is holding the computers on which we want to deploy the software. In my case, the organization unit will be this one, the main computers one. So to assign the policy, I will click and hold on the policy and then drag and drop it on the organization unit. And then I will click OK here, and as you can see, the policy appeared here, and also we can see it in the list here. Now after assigning the policy, I will go to one of my client machines, and let's see how this policy works. And for that, I will go to one of my computers that I have in this organization unit, and it's the client 01 that I have here. And here, first thing that we need to do is to update our group policy, and for that I will go to Start menu, I will type CMD, and I will open it without administrative privileges. Then I will type GP update and press enter. And as you can see here, the group policy update was successful, and here we are getting an informational message saying that it detected a software installation package and that the computer needs to reboot for the software installation to happen. So to restart the computer, I will type shutdown -R-T0 and press enter. And now let's see what's going to happen. And here we can see that the computer is currently installing FileZilla software package. So let's wait a bit more, and it seems that it is done installing. So I will sign back into the computer. Then I will go to Start menu, All Apps. And as you can see, we have FileZilla client in our Start menu, and it seems to be working just fine. And that's it for deploying FileZilla to our computers during startup. Now let's create another policy where we assign it to our domain users, and then the users themselves can install the software. And for that, I will go back to my server, right click on group policy objects, select new, and this time I will name the policy publish FileZilla and click OK. Then I will right click on the policy, go to edit. This time, because this policy is for our computers, we need to go to user configuration, policies, software settings, software installation. I will right click here, go to new and select package. Once again, make sure that you're selecting a file that is located in a network share. It seems that everything is fine here, so I will click on the file, select advanced and click OK. Then I will go to the deployment tab, and for installation user interface options, I will select basic because I don't want to allow for the users to select anything during the installation process. And we are once again done creating our policy, so I will close this window. Then I will click on the policy here, go to details, and for GPU status, I will select computer configuration settings disabled this time, because this time this policy has only user settings in it. And I will leave all other settings on default. Now after creating our policy, we need to assign it to an organization unit. But this time we need to assign it to an organization unit that is holding our users to whom we want to allow the software installation. And in my case, the organization unit will be this one, domain users. So to assign the policy, I will click and hold on the policy and then drag and drop it on the organization unit. As you can see, the policy appeared here and also in the list here. Now to test this policy, I will go to my other client machine that I have here, client 02. And here I have this desktop shortcut that allows me to install the software from the network. And as you can see, currently the list is empty, and to fill the list, we need to update our group policy. And for that, I will go to start menu, I will type cmd, and then I will type gp update. And as you can see, group policy update was successful. Now if I refresh the software list here, we have a FileZilla deployment package. If I double click on it, the installation starts. And it seems that the installation was successful, so I will click OK here, go to start menu, all apps, and here we see FileZilla client on this machine. If I click on it, it successfully starts and it seems to be working just fine. And that's it for this video. In the future videos I will show you how to deploy FileZilla using other software deployment tools, so like and subscribe if you want to see that, and see you in the next one.